Have you ever wondered what it truly takes for a good person, someone kind, compassionate, ethical, to become capable of cruelty? Not a villain from a movie, not a psychopath, but someone ordinary, someone like you. History shows us a disturbing pattern. Ordinary people, placed in extraordinary situations, crossing lines they once swore they never would. So the real question isn't, why do bad people do bad things? The real question is, could you? Tonight, we explore the thin line between good and evil, and why that line runs through every human heart. In 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo conducted one of the most infamous psychological experiments in history, the Stanford prison experiment. College students were randomly assigned roles. Some became guards, others became prisoners. Within days, something terrifying happened. The guards began humiliating and abusing the prisoners, not because they were evil, but because the environment gave them permission. Zimbardo called it the Lucifer effect, the transformation of ordinary individuals into perpetrators of harm, not through personality, but through situation. The environment shapes behavior more than we dare to admit. In the 1960s, psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted another disturbing study. Participants were instructed to deliver electric shocks to another person. They believed the shocks were real, as screams echoed from the other room. Most participants continued. Why? Because an authority figure in a lab coat told them to. Not monsters, not sadists, just people, obeying orders. Authority has a strange power. It shifts responsibility away from the self. I was just following instructions, and in that moment, morality becomes negotiable. One of the most dangerous psychological mechanisms behind cruelty is dehumanization. When we stop seeing others as human, it becomes easier to justify harm. History is filled with moments where entire groups were reduced to labels: enemy, outsider, lesser. Once empathy is removed, morality weakens. Language plays a silent but powerful role. The moment people become categories instead of individuals, compassion begins to collapse. And when compassion collapses, cruelty no longer feels like cruelty. It feels like duty. How much of who you are is actually you, and how much is the role society gives you? In controlled environments, individuals quickly adapt to assigned roles: leader, follower, guard, victim. Group dynamics create invisible pressure. The desire to belong often overrides personal morals. People don't just act as individuals, they act as members of a system. And within a system, responsibility becomes diluted. I didn't choose this. This is just how things work. But slowly, the role becomes the identity. Evil rarely begins with grand actions. It begins with small compromises, a moment of silence when you should have spoken, a decision to follow instead of question, a justification that says, just this once. These moments feel insignificant, but they accumulate. One compromise becomes two, two become a pattern, and before you realize it, you are no longer the person you once believed yourself to be. The tipping point is rarely dramatic. It is quiet, subtle, gradual. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung called it the shadow. The hidden part of our personality we refuse to acknowledge, our suppressed anger, our envy, our darker impulses. We like to believe we are purely good. But true self-awareness begins when we confront the darkness within us. Ignoring the shadow does not eliminate it. It strengthens it. Because what is repressed eventually finds expression. Not as intention, but as reaction. Psychologist Albert Bandura introduced a chilling concept: moral disengagement, the mind's ability to justify wrongdoing. Everyone else is doing it. The ends justify the means. I had no choice. These rationalizations create distance between actions and conscience. And the more we justify, the less guilt we feel. Not because the act is less wrong, but because the mind has rewritten the story. But here's the hopeful truth. The same forces that create monsters can also create heroes. Moral courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite fear. History remembers those who refused to stay silent, those who spoke when it was dangerous, those who chose integrity over comfort. Courage is not born in extraordinary moments. It is built in small daily decisions. Every time you choose truth over convenience, you strengthen your moral backbone. The most profound realization is this: the line between good and evil does not run between nations, or ideologies, or groups. It runs through every human heart. Every day we are faced with choices, small decisions that shape who we become. You are not immune, neither am I. But awareness gives us power, empathy gives us direction, and courage gives us control. In the end, the battle between darkness and light is not fought in history books. It is fought within you, every single day. The question is not, can good people become bad? The real question is, when the moment comes, who will you choose to be?